The sky was clear that morning, with sunlight spreading over the city like a warm blanket. Birds chirped and children played in the parks, completely unaware of the shadow that was approaching. On the edge of space, something unusual had appeared. Satellites detected it first, strange objects moving faster than anything human technology could achieve. At first, scientists thought it might be a meteor or some unusual natural phenomenon, but soon the truth became impossible to ignore. The objects were not natural. They were ships, and they were enormous. From space, they looked like sleek metallic islands, gliding silently toward Earth. Their surfaces shimmered with colors that no human eye had ever seen, and their shapes seemed almost alive. On Earth, alarms began to sound across military bases and scientific research centers. Every nation felt the sudden tension. News agencies interrupted broadcasts with urgent announcements. People stared at the sky, wondering what the strange objects meant. In Washington, D.C., General Harris paced in the Pentagon, his face grim. "If these are what I think they are," he said, voice low, "we are completely outclassed. Our weapons might not even scratch them." Beside him, Dr. Elena Ramirez, an astrophysicist, shook her head. "We don't know that yet. We need to study them first. There might be a way to fight back." "There's always a way." Harris gave her a skeptical look. "Dr. Ramirez, these things, whatever they are, came from outside our solar system. Their technology is clearly far beyond ours. They could destroy a city with a single shot, and we would barely know what hit us." Elena took a deep breath. "I know it looks hopeless, but humans are unpredictable. That could be our advantage." Meanwhile, across the globe, people watched in fear and awe as the ships moved closer. In Japan, families gathered on rooftops. In Brazil, fishermen stopped their boats to look at the horizon. In Africa, farmers paused their work to gaze at the sky. News channels tried to explain what was happening, but no one had any real answers. On a small island in the Pacific, a young engineer named Kai was tinkering with a prototype drone when the news came. His first thought was disbelief. "Aliens?" he muttered to himself. "No way." But as the sky darkened with the approaching ships, he realized this was real. The world was about to change. The first public sighting of the ships caused panic. People ran into streets screaming and shouting, unsure whether to flee or stay. Governments issued calm statements, but calm was impossible. Rumors spread faster than the truth. Some said the aliens were friendly. Others said they would enslave humanity. Some even believed this was the end of the world. Despite the fear, not everyone panicked. Small teams of scientists, engineers, and military personnel began working together. They shared information, studied alien signals, and tried to understand the ship's movements. Elena Ramirez was one of them. In a darkened lab filled with computers and blinking lights, she stared at the screen, analyzing the data. "They're scanning us," she said quietly, more to herself than to anyone else. "They are observing everything." "But why? Are they looking for weapons? Cities, or humans themselves?" In the Pentagon, General Harris convened a meeting with world leaders through a secure video link. The consensus was grim. Earth was under threat, and the aliens would not wait. Every nation was asked to prepare for possible attacks. Militaries around the world began to mobilize, though everyone knew they were likely no match for the advanced ships above. Kai, meanwhile, was building something in secret. He believed that human creativity could be more powerful than any weapon. Using scrap metal, old drones, and a mix of electronics, he began assembling small devices he hoped could interfere with alien technology. His friends laughed at him at first. "You're just one guy, Kai," they said. "You can't fight alien ships with toys." Kai smiled. "Maybe not alone. But humans are not just one person. Together, we can be unstoppable." As the day progressed, the first alien ships entered the upper atmosphere. They hovered silently above major cities, casting enormous shadows. Helicopters flew up to investigate, but the aliens seemed to anticipate every move. Radar systems went silent, as if the ships had a way to block or scramble them. Communication satellites were affected, and soon large areas of the world experienced blackouts. Panic turned into awe as the aliens revealed their size and power. Cities like New York, London, Beijing, and Tokyo suddenly seemed tiny and fragile. The first missiles fired at the ships were destroyed mid-air without warning. It became clear. These invaders had expected Earth to surrender easily, without resistance. But humans are not so simple. In a small town in Canada, A retired engineer named Thomas watched the sky with binoculars. He remembered stories of the Second World War and how humans had overcome impossible odds with clever tactics. "They think they can scare us," he muttered. They've never met humans in a real fight. Meanwhile, in laboratories around the world, teams worked around the clock. They analyzed alien materials, studied their energy patterns, and observed their movements. Every small discovery was a spark of hope. Dr. Ramirez noticed something unusual in the way the ships moved. They followed strict patterns but occasionally paused as if unsure. "They are intelligent but not perfect," she told her team. "We can find weaknesses. We must find weaknesses." As night fell, the sky glowed with the reflection of alien lights. Across the world, people stayed awake, staring at the sky. Fear was everywhere, but so was a quiet determination. Humans are a species that survives against odds. Even in the darkest times, hope persists. Kai finished the first prototype of his device, a small drone capable of emitting pulses that could interfere with alien sensors. It was crude, but it worked. He gathered his friends and demonstrated it. "This is just the beginning," he said. "We can't fight them with their own weapons, but we can fight them with our minds. That's what makes humans dangerous." The aliens, observing Earth from above, were beginning to notice that humans were not responding as expected. Panic was not universal. Resistance was emerging in strange and unexpected ways. The invaders communicated with each other in a language no human could understand, discussing strategy. They were puzzled. No species in their history had been so unpredictable. In the heart of Europe, a small team of scientists hacked into one of the alien communication signals. They didn't understand the language, but they could track movement patterns. "They are cautious," one scientist said. "They thought Earth would be easy. They were wrong." Across the globe, humanity's first glimmers of resistance were forming. Ordinary people were improvising defenses. Soldiers were training with new tactics. Engineers were building tools from whatever they could find. Children listened to stories of courage and ingenuity from parents, inspiring the next generation to be brave. Even as the alien ships loomed over the Earth, humanity's spirit refused to be crushed. The first day of the invasion ended without a full attack on major cities. The aliens waited, perhaps expecting submission. But humans never submit easily. Kai looked at the night sky, his device ready, his friends beside him. "Tomorrow," he said, "we start fighting back. They think they can scare us into surrender. They don't know what humans can do when they fight for their home." In labs, bunkers, and homes across the world, the same thought echoed silently. Earth may be small, fragile and underestimated, but its people are not. They are clever, determined, and willing to fight, and the invaders had no idea what was coming next. The dawn broke over Earth, but it brought no peace. Across the globe, people awoke to the silent, ominous presence of alien ships hovering above their cities. Governments had called for calm, but calm was a fragile thing in the face of such power. Airplanes avoided the skies. Streets were empty. Children huddled with parents, eyes wide with fear and curiosity. In Washington, D.C., General Harris stared at the digital map showing the positions of the alien fleet. Each ship was marked with a glowing red dot, their movements precise and coordinated. "They're preparing for something," he said grimly. "We have to act before they strike." Dr. Elena Ramirez and her team were analyzing the alien ship's energy patterns. The aliens had not attacked yet, but their sensors were scanning Earth constantly. "I've noticed something," she said to her team, pointing at the monitor. "They have a feedback system in their weapons. If we can disrupt it, we might survive the first strike." Harris raised his eyebrows. "Disrupt it? How?" "We don't even know their technology." Elena smiled faintly. "We know humans. We can find patterns they didn't expect. Humans are unpredictable." Across the Atlantic, in London, civilians and engineers were doing the same. Small teams of volunteers began reinforcing buildings, creating safe zones and designing simple but effective defenses. Underground tunnels, abandoned warehouses, and even subway systems were converted into bunkers. Humanity had one advantage the aliens did not: familiarity with the Earth itself. Meanwhile, in the Pacific, Kai's small team of engineers and friends prepared their first attack. Their drone, equipped with an improvised EMP-like pulse, hummed with electricity. "It's small," Kai said, "but it's a start. One tiny shock could confuse their sensors. And confusion is all humans need to survive." By late morning, the first shots came. The aliens fired energy beams at coastal cities. Massive explosions rocked the skyline, sending columns of smoke into the sky. Streets emptied and chaos reigned, but humans did not surrender. Helicopters carried rescue teams, engineers patched communication lines, and volunteers guided people to safety. Kai launched his drone near one of the attacking ships. It zipped upward, dodging beams and moving toward the ship's surface. When it reached the right position, it emitted a pulse that rippled across the alien vessel. The effect was immediate. The ship wobbled slightly as if startled. Then it corrected itself. But humans saw the sign of vulnerability. In Japan, a group of tech students noticed similar patterns. The alien ships paused intermittently during attacks, and their targeting systems sometimes misfired. The students shared this data with scientists worldwide. Humanity was beginning to understand that alien technology, though advanced, was not flawless. Cities fought back in small but significant ways. Pilots flew drones in unpredictable formations to distract alien sensors. Civilians rigged electrical grids to interfere with targeting beams. Engineers constructed mirrors and reflective panels to confuse laser attacks. Each small act of resistance forced the aliens to adapt, slowing their progress. In a bunker in Africa, a retired military strategist named Ayo gathered young volunteers. "They think we will break," he said. "But humans survive by thinking, by acting where they don't expect. Today we will show them that Earth is not so easy to take." As the aliens advanced, their first real offensive on major cities began. New York, Paris, Beijing, and Sydney were targeted with precision. Massive energy beams cut through buildings and explosions shook the ground. Panic rose, but alongside it, courage appeared. Ordinary people refused to stay silent. Firefighters, police officers, engineers, and volunteers acted quickly to save lives. In one New York neighborhood, a team of construction workers used cranes and metal beams to create improvised barricades. One worker shouted, "We can't stop them alone, but we can slow them down." They guided citizens to safe zones, all while dodging falling debris and chaotic energy bursts. Meanwhile, the alien commanders observed these events with surprise. Their calculations had assumed humans would panic and surrender. Instead, humans were fighting in ways the aliens had not predicted. Small, uncoordinated actions seemed chaotic, yet they worked. Humans were not machines. They were clever, creative, and capable of improvisation. Back in the Pacific, Kai's team launched several drones toward the fleet. Each drone emitted pulses that interfered with the ship's sensors. Some beams misfired, others paused mid-strike. The aliens had not expected resistance at this level. "They're learning," Kai whispered. "But we are too." At the United Nations headquarters, world leaders convened a virtual meeting. Scientists and engineers from different countries shared their findings. They realized something important. The aliens could be fought, not with brute force alone, but with clever strategy, adaptation, and ingenuity. Elena Ramirez addressed the leaders. "We have the tools, but we need to act together. They may have superior technology, but they do not understand human creativity. That is our weapon," Harris nodded. "We need coordination. Small teams worldwide using everything we have. Improvisation, bravery, and unpredictability. That's how we survived the first strike." As night fell, humans had managed to save many cities from complete destruction. The aliens, while powerful, were beginning to see a pattern. Earth was not a simple conquest. Humans adapted faster than the invaders had calculated. Every misstep of the aliens was being studied and countered. In South America, a group of volunteers used simple mirrors and lights to confuse alien targeting systems. They laughed nervously as beams missed their intended targets. "We're not just hiding," one said. "We're fighting too." The first day of the alien strike ended with a strange calm. Major cities were damaged, but humanity was still standing. Engineers patched power lines. Medical teams treated the injured. Families reunited. And all around the world, humans prepared for the next day. Kai and his team reviewed the day's events. "We did it," he said, barely able to believe it. "We survived. And we made them pause." Elena Ramirez, analyzing the alien patterns late at night, felt hope for the first time. "They think they are invincible," she said softly. "But humans are never predictable. That is something no machine can calculate." In a quiet countryside, an old farmer looked up at the stars and whispered, "They came thinking Earth was easy. They never expected us." His words echoed the truth of the day. Humanity had faced destruction and fear, yet they had also revealed their strength, creativity, and courage. The aliens, meanwhile, regrouped above the atmosphere. Their commanders discussed strategy, baffled by human tactics. "Why are they resisting?" one asked. "They should surrender. Their technology is nothing compared to ours." Another alien replied, "They are unpredictable. Their minds, different. They adapt. They survive." For the first time, the invaders realized that Earth would not fall easily. Humans were not weak. Humans were dangerous, and that danger had only begun to reveal itself. Across the planet, humans slept with one eye open, prepared for the next wave of attacks. They were bruised, exhausted, and afraid, but also more united than ever. Engineers, scientists, soldiers, and civilians were ready to continue fighting, using every ounce of ingenuity they had. Kai stared at his drone, charging for the next mission. "We're just getting started," he said. "They thought this would be easy. They never imagined what humans can do when they fight for home, family, and survival." And in the night sky, the alien fleet hovered, preparing their next strike. They had underestimated the humans, and that mistake would shape the battles to come. The first strike had ended, but the real fight was only beginning. The morning sun rose over a world that was bruised but not broken. Across cities, towns, and villages, humanity awoke with a quiet determination. The first strike had tested their courage, but it had also shown them a truth. The aliens were not invincible. They had weaknesses. They had patterns. And, most importantly, they had underestimated humans. In New York, engineers and technicians worked tirelessly, repairing damaged buildings and power lines. Makeshift barricades and energy reflectors covered streets, while volunteer teams coordinated supply deliveries to shelters. "Every little thing we do matters," said Lena, a young engineer, as she tightened wires on a reflective panel designed to confuse alien sensors. "We may not have their technology, but we have something they can't predict: our minds." Across the Atlantic in Europe, scientists shared their discoveries through a secure network. They had identified key points in alien ship formations and noticed that some ships slowed when navigating certain atmospheric conditions. "They are advanced," said Dr. Mueller in Berlin, "but they are also creatures of logic, and logic can be outsmarted by creativity." In Asia, volunteer pilots took to the skies with drones modified to emit interference pulses. These pulses disrupted alien sensors, forcing ships to pause mid-attack. Even small victories made a difference. Civilians guided drones from rooftops, coordinating in ways that computers could not predict. Human teamwork was proving more effective than anyone had imagined. In the Pacific, Kai and his team prepared for a larger mission. His small drones had caused minor disruptions before, but now they were combining them into swarms, working in synchronized patterns to confuse multiple alien ships at once. "We are turning their strength into weakness," Kai said, eyes shining with determination. "They cannot predict what we do next because they do not understand humans." Meanwhile, in Africa, a group of retired military strategists and volunteers met in an old command bunker. They were planning ways to use the terrain to humanity's advantage. Mountains, forests, rivers, and deserts, all these natural barriers could slow the alien advance. "We cannot face them head-on," said Io, a veteran strategist, "but we can force them to fight on our terms. And when humans fight on their terms, we are unstoppable." Even the aliens began to notice something troubling. Their ships, though powerful, were being slowed, confused, and occasionally damaged by humans' unconventional methods. Energy beams misfired, sensors glitched, and small drones, which should have been insignificant, were causing unexpected disruptions. The invaders had never faced a species that could combine bravery with clever thinking in such unpredictable ways. In South America, volunteers turned old communication towers into relay stations for interference signals. Children helped carry small devices up to the rooftops, while adults coordinated signals from town to town. Every town became a node in a growing network of resistance. The aliens were learning that Earth was not a passive target. It was a living, thinking battlefield, shaped by humans themselves. In Washington, D.C., General Harris convened an emergency meeting with leaders from across the globe. "We've learned something important," he said, voice steady. "We can fight them, not by mimicking their weapons, but by being human, unpredictable, clever, adaptive. We are not just defending ourselves. We are showing them that humanity cannot be easily conquered." Dr. Elena Ramirez nodded. Our engineers, our scientists, our volunteers, they are doing amazing work. But we need to take it further. We must combine our knowledge, our creativity, and our courage to strike back in ways they will never expect. The first coordinated counterattack began in the skies above the Pacific. Swarms of drones, guided by human pilots and interference signals, flew towards several alien ships. The ships fired energy beams, but the pulses from human devices caused targeting errors. Some beams struck the ocean harmlessly, while others misfired entirely. The aliens realized that humans were adapting faster than they could. On the ground, civilians had created improvised shelters and emergency response teams. Engineers built reflective shields and decoy structures to mislead alien targeting systems. Farmers and volunteers dug trenches and created barriers to protect towns from direct strikes. Every action, no matter how small, contributed to a growing resistance. Kai's drone swarm moved closer to the largest ship. It emitted a continuous pulse designed to interfere with the ship's sensors. For the first time, the alien vessel wobbled uncontrollably, unable to stabilize its energy beams. Kai's team cheered. We did it. We made them hesitate. Across the world, similar victories were happening. In Europe, a hacker group discovered a way to temporarily disrupt the alien ship's communication network. In Africa, teams guided alien ships into natural traps where terrain and gravity slowed them. Every continent, every city, every community contributed in its own way. Humanity was not just surviving, it was fighting back. The aliens observing these events began to change tactics. They split their fleet, attempting to overwhelm human defenses with sheer numbers. But humans adapted again. Small teams coordinated to counter multiple ships at once, using terrain, interference signals, and clever misdirection. The aliens could not predict these strategies, and they began to suffer losses. In South America, a group of volunteers set up decoy cities using holographic projectors and reflective panels. Alien ships fired at the illusions, wasting energy and resources. In Asia, engineers created magnetic fields that disrupted the aliens' navigation systems, forcing ships to pause or veer off course. Each innovation, each small act of resistance compounded humanity's strength. Back in the United States, General Harris and Dr. Ramirez watched the results on global screens. They thought they could conquer us in days, Harris said. But humans don't surrender that easily. Every obstacle we face only makes us stronger. Elena smiled. They assumed Earth would be simple. They did not count on our unity, our creativity, or our determination, and they never will. As night fell, the first major counteroffensive ended. Alien ships retreated slightly, regrouping to assess the unexpected resistance. Humanity had suffered casualties, but they had also achieved something remarkable. They had shown the invaders that Earth was not defenseless. Humans were not predictable. Humans were clever, inventive, and united. Kai and his team returned home exhausted but proud. We made a difference today, he said. And tomorrow we do it again, but bigger, smarter, faster. They may have technology, but we have something they can never predict, the human mind. In Europe, Dr. Miller watched as teams prepared new interference devices. They will think our next move is random, he said. But it will not be random. It will be precise, coordinated, and unstoppable. Across the planet, people slept with one thought in common. They would not surrender. They would fight, adapt, and survive. Every city, every town, every individual contributed to a growing, unstoppable force. The aliens, for the first time, realized that they had underestimated the human race. Earth was not a simple conquest. It was a planet filled with clever, resilient beings who could adapt faster than any machine could calculate. In the skies above the Atlantic, one alien commander said, "They resist. They adapt. They survive. We did not expect this." Another replied, "Perhaps we underestimated them. Perhaps we miscalculated. We must proceed carefully." Humanity, meanwhile, was only beginning to show its true strength. Engineers, scientists, soldiers, and civilians worked side by side, blending ingenuity with courage. Every setback became an opportunity. Every challenge was met with creativity, and every small victory fueled hope across the world. Kai looked at the stars, imagining the massive ships above. "They came to conquer," he said softly. "But they don't understand humans, and that will be their mistake." In the darkness of the night, lights from cities and towns flickered like stars. These were not just lights, they were beacons of resistance, proof that humanity could survive, fight, and adapt. The first counterattack had ended, but it had set the stage for something much greater. The aliens had come expecting easy victory. They had found something entirely different, a species capable of creativity, courage, and unity beyond anything they had ever imagined. The alien fleet hovered above Earth like a storm ready to strike, but humanity had changed. Cities were no longer just targets, they were traps, training grounds, and defensive fortresses. Every corner of the planet had been prepared for resistance. Every citizen, soldier, and volunteer had contributed to a network of ingenuity, strategy, and courage. Kai's drone team was at the heart of the next operation. Their mission was bold. Infiltrate the outer defenses of the alien fleet and gather as much data as possible to expose weak points. The drones were faster, smarter, and more coordinated than before. They moved like a single organism, weaving through alien sensors and energy beams. Kai watched from the command center, heart pounding. "Remember," he said to his friends, "they may be stronger, faster, and bigger than us, but they cannot predict humans. They cannot understand our creativity. That is our edge." The first drone reached the outer layer of an alien ship. Its pulse sent a shock through the vessel, causing a temporary blackout in some of the alien sensors. The ship staggered mid-flight, its energy beams misfiring. Small cracks began to appear in the alien formation. In Europe, Dr. Muller and his team coordinated attacks from multiple cities. They synchronized interference pulses, holographic decoys, and terrain-based traps. Every ship that moved too close to Earth's surface faced a barrage of unexpected obstacles. Mountains, rivers, and cities became tools of resistance. The aliens had technology, but humans had imagination, and imagination cannot be calculated. Across the Pacific, Kai's drones infiltrated deeper into the fleet. They mapped ship layouts, discovered energy conduits, and even captured brief glimpses of alien command protocols. The information was invaluable. Humanity now had a blueprint, however incomplete, of the alien fleet. With it, strategies could be designed not just to defend Earth but to fight back. Meanwhile, on the ground, humans launched the first major counteroffensive. Pilots flew drones armed with small but precise explosives, targeting weak points discovered from previous attacks. Engineers had designed these drones to move unpredictably, mimicking patterns humans had learned from observing nature. Like swarms of birds or schools of fish, the aliens struggled to target them. In Africa, teams used magnetic fields to disrupt alien navigation systems. In South America, decoy cities continued to mislead alien energy weapons. In Asia, laser mirrors and reflective surfaces confused targeting systems further. Every continent, every town, every community played a role in weakening the alien fleet. For the first time, the aliens were not merely attacking, they were reacting. Their precision, previously flawless, faltered under human unpredictability. Ships collided with one another, beams misfired, and some vessels even drifted dangerously close to Earth's surface. In Washington, D.C., General Harris watched the global screens with a mixture of relief and awe. "They thought they would overwhelm us in hours," he said. "But humans have done the impossible. We are not just surviving, we are winning battles we never thought we could." Dr. Elena Ramirez nodded, eyes focused on a complex holographic display of alien ship movements. "And it's only going to get better. The more we learn about them, the more we can exploit their weaknesses. Humans fight differently than any species in the universe. That is our greatest weapon." In Europe, hackers found a way to infiltrate alien communications. They did not understand the language, but they could intercept signals and disrupt coordination between ships. Small teams of volunteers transmitted false orders and feedback, causing confusion in alien ranks. Ships that were supposed to support each other suddenly moved erratically. The aliens' battle formation crumbled, leaving them vulnerable. Back in the Pacific, Kai's drone team prepared a daring maneuver. A group of drones would enter the main alien command ship to gather critical intelligence. It was risky. One mistake could destroy the entire team, but the potential reward was enormous. Kai glanced at his friends. "We do this together," he said. "Our minds are stronger than their machines. They cannot predict what we do next." The drones penetrated the command ship's outer defenses. Energy pulses, once meant to detect intruders, were confused by the unpredictable patterns of human technology. The drones zipped through corridors, mapping layouts and identifying critical systems. For the first time, humanity could see the heart of the alien fleet. On Earth, the combined global counteroffensive intensified. Drones disrupted energy systems, interference signals confused targeting, and human ingenuity created traps no machine could anticipate. The alien fleet, once a terrifying force of destruction, was now forced to defend itself. Ships that were meant to dominate Earth were struggling to survive. In orbit above Europe, an alien commander spoke sharply in their strange language. Why are they not broken? Every plan we have fails. Their logic, it is chaotic. Their minds, unpredictable. Another commander replied, perhaps this species is stronger than we assumed. We cannot control them. We must adapt. Humanity's counterattacks had shifted the balance. The aliens, confident at first, now faced a species that refused to be conquered. Each city, each team, each individual had contributed to a tide that was slowly but surely turning in Earth's favor. In North America, Kai's drones reached the central core of the command ship. They transmitted critical data back to Earth: ship layouts, energy conduit maps, and system weaknesses. Scientists and engineers pored over the information, designing precise countermeasures. Every detail was a step closer to victory. On the ground, soldiers and civilians coordinated strikes based on the new intelligence. Targets that were previously unreachable or too dangerous were now vulnerable. Human innovation, combined with bravery and determination, allowed precise, effective attacks. The alien fleet, once confident and unstoppable, was now faltering. In South America, volunteers celebrated small victories. Alien ships were retreating from towns they had previously targeted, misled by decoys and interference. Children who had helped set up devices were cheered for their contributions. Humanity's resilience was contagious. Hope spread alongside fear, courage alongside uncertainty. Dr. Ramirez, watching the unfolding events, felt a surge of pride. We are not just defending Earth, she said. We are proving that humans are extraordinary. Our minds, our courage, our ability to adapt, these are things no machine, no invader can match. Kai returned to the command center after the successful drone infiltration. We've done it, he said, smiling. We've found the heart of their fleet. We can strike where it hurts most. They came to conquer, but we will make them retreat. Across the world, humanity's collective effort continued. Engineers repaired and upgraded drones. Hackers refined interference systems. Civilians reinforced shelters and prepared for the next wave of attacks. The aliens, once a looming shadow, were now facing a planet that was united, clever, and unstoppable. The alien commanders convened in their flagship. They resist beyond our calculations, one said. They are not just surviving. They are fighting back with precision and strategy. Their creativity, it is dangerous, another commander growled. We must adapt, or we will lose control. We underestimated them. Earth is not an easy target. The tides were turning. Humanity, once thought to be weak and defenseless, had shown that unity, ingenuity, and courage could overcome even the most advanced invaders. The alien fleet had not expected humans to fight back with intelligence and creativity, and that miscalculation was proving costly. Kai looked out over the Pacific, where drone swarms and human ingenuity had begun to challenge the alien ships directly. They thought they could scare us, he whispered. They never expected humans to fight smart, fight together, and never give up. And they never will. In cities, towns, forests, and mountains, humanity prepared for the next stage. The alien fleet was still dangerous, still powerful, but for the first time the invaders had to hesitate, to rethink, to react. Earth was no longer a passive planet. It was a battlefield where humans had turned the odds in their favor. The first decisive victories had been won, and the message was clear: humanity would not be defeated. The aliens had come expecting surrender. Instead, they found resistance. They had thought Earth was easy to take. They had underestimated humans, and that mistake would cost them dearly. The alien fleet, once so confident and imposing, hovered over Earth with a new unease. Their previous attacks had failed to conquer the planet. Their advanced technology, which had seemed unstoppable, was now countered by human ingenuity, courage, and teamwork. Ships wobbled under interference pulses, beams misfired, and command systems faltered. The invaders had miscalculated, and humanity was ready to turn that mistake into victory. Kai stood at the command center, watching drone swarms coordinate across the Pacific. He felt a mix of fear, excitement, and pride. "This is it," he said to his team. "Today we show them that Earth cannot be taken by force. Humans fight differently. We adapt, we survive, we win." Across the globe, other teams were preparing their final coordinated strikes. In Europe, hackers fine-tuned interference networks to disrupt alien communications entirely. In Asia, engineers reinforced drones and reflective devices for maximum effect. In South America, volunteers set up decoy cities to lure alien ships into traps. Africa's terrain teams had prepared clever ambushes using mountains and forests to slow and confuse the invaders. Humanity's preparation was complete. The aliens, sensing the coordination, convened in their flagship. "They are stronger than expected," one commander said. "Their resistance is growing. They fight with intelligence, with unity, with courage. We cannot control them as easily as we thought." Another commander added, "We miscalculated. Perhaps this species is unlike any we have faced before. Proceed with caution." But caution could not save them from the ingenuity of humans. The first strike of the global counteroffensive began in orbit. Kai's drone swarms attacked the outer layers of the alien fleet, emitting pulses that disrupted sensors and navigation systems. Ships collided with one another in confusion, and energy beams intended for Earth struck other vessels instead. The aliens struggled to regain control. Simultaneously, ground teams launched precise attacks. Volunteers guided alien ships into mountainous terrain, where magnetic fields and reflective surfaces caused further misfires. In forests, humans had set traps and obstacles that forced ships to hover at a distance, losing mobility and power. Every element of Earth itself was weaponized by human creativity. In the Pacific, Kai's drones infiltrated the main command ship, transmitting critical data back to Earth. Engineers and scientists used this information to target the alien fleet's vulnerabilities with precise strikes. Explosions rocked the alien ships and panic began to spread among their ranks. They had never faced a species capable of turning intelligence and creativity into such effective weapons. In Europe, hackers sent false signals through alien communication networks. Commands were misinterpreted, formations broke apart, and ships that had been coordinating perfectly now moved erratically. One ship collided with another, creating a chain reaction that rippled across the fleet. The aliens were being undone by human unpredictability, something no machine could anticipate. In North America, pilots guided drones armed with small explosives to strike critical points in alien ships. The attacks were precise and creative, exploiting weaknesses identified from earlier reconnaissance. Ships faltered, misfired, and began to retreat. Humanity's combined efforts had begun to turn the tide. Across Africa, volunteers cheered as alien vessels were forced to navigate difficult terrain. Mountains, rivers, and forests, all once obstacles to humans, had become traps for the invaders. Humans had transformed their planet into a battlefield where creativity, courage, and unity were more powerful than advanced technology. Kai's drones returned from the command ship with invaluable data. "We know where their systems are weak," he told his team. "We can finish this. We can make them retreat." Dr. Elena Ramirez coordinated a final global strategy. "This is our chance," she said. They came expecting easy victory. They will find none. Every strike, every obstacle, every small act of ingenuity matters. Humanity's strength is in our minds and hearts. That is what will win this battle. The final assault began. Drones and ground teams worked in perfect harmony. Interference pulses disabled targeting systems. Reflective devices confused energy beams. Holographic decoys misled ships into dangerous paths. Magnetic fields disrupted navigation. Every tactic was calculated to exploit alien weaknesses while keeping humans safe. The aliens fought back, but their strikes were uncoordinated and ineffective. Ships that had once dominated the skies now struggled to stay aloft. Their technology, so advanced yet so rigid, could not adapt as quickly as human creativity. Panic spread through the fleet. The invaders were losing control. In South America, a decoy city lured several alien ships into a canyon trap. Magnetic pulses and reflective surfaces caused their weapons to misfire, striking each other instead of the ground. Small explosions rocked the canyon, and ships that had once been unstoppable were now damaged and retreating. Volunteers cheered, knowing that human ingenuity had won the day. In Asia, drones guided alien ships into forests, where terrain traps and magnetic interference disabled engines. Engineers monitored every movement, ready to exploit the smallest weakness. Humanity was turning the planet itself into a weapon, showing that strength does not always lie in firepower. It lies in intelligence, creativity, and courage. Kai watched the main alien command ship on his screen. It was faltering under combined attacks from drones, interference pulses, and human ingenuity. "This is it," he whispered. "We're about to finish this." With a coordinated signal from Dr. Ramirez, the final strike was launched. Drones targeted critical systems in the command ship, while ground teams created maximum disruption in alien formations. Explosions erupted across the fleet. Ships wobbled, collided, and faltered. The alien commanders realized that victory was slipping from their grasp. Above the Pacific, the flagship of the alien fleet wavered. Its energy systems failed under precise human strikes, and navigation became impossible. The alien commanders watched in disbelief as their once perfect formation collapsed. They had underestimated humanity, and that mistake had brought them to the edge of defeat. Kai's drones delivered the final pulse to the command ship's core systems. Lights flickered and went dark. The ship trembled, and then for the first time it began to descend uncontrollably. Humanity had struck at the heart of the alien fleet. Across Earth, cheers erupted as news spread. The aliens were retreating. Ships pulled back into orbit, struggling to regroup. The invaders, who had thought conquest would be easy, had been forced into retreat by a species they had underestimated. Humanity had won. In Washington, General Harris and Dr. Ramirez watched the news feeds, relief washing over them. "They came thinking Earth was simple," Harris said quietly. "They never expected humans to fight together, to think creatively, and to never give up. We've won, not because of weapons alone, but because of who we are." Kai returned to the command center, exhausted but elated. "We did it," he said. "We made them retreat. We showed them that humans are unpredictable, creative, and unstoppable when we fight for home." Across the world, people emerged from shelters, cheered in streets, and embraced loved ones. The alien threat had been stopped and humanity had survived. But the victory was more than survival, it was proof. Proof that humans, a species thought weak and fragile, could overcome impossible odds with courage, intelligence, and unity. In Europe, Dr. Mueller addressed a crowd from the remnants of a damaged city. "Today we proved that humans are extraordinary. We defended our planet, our families, and our future. Let this be a lesson to all who doubt us. We are not weak. We are clever, brave, and unstoppable when we work together." In Africa, Io stood on a hill overlooking a village that had been shielded from the attacks. Children ran and laughed in the streets, playing again after days of fear. "They thought they could scare us," he said. "But they never understood what it means to be human." In Asia, engineers celebrated their innovations. The drones, reflective devices, and interference systems had worked perfectly. "We combined courage and creativity," one engineer said, "and that was enough to defeat the most powerful fleet in the universe." Kai looked up at the night sky, where a few alien ships still lingered, retreating but alive. "They will think twice before returning," he said softly. "We are humans. We fight with our minds, our hearts, and our courage, and no one can underestimate us again." Dr. Ramirez watched him, smiling. "This is only the beginning. Humanity has shown what we are capable of. We will rebuild, we will grow stronger, and we will never forget the lesson we learned today, that our greatest power is not technology alone. It is who we are as humans." Across the globe, Earth breathed a sigh of relief. The cities were scarred. The forests and mountains had borne witness to battles, and people had lost loved ones. But the planet had survived. Humanity had survived. And more than that, humanity had won in a way that no alien force could have predicted. The invaders had come expecting easy victory. They had assumed Earth would fall within days. But they had underestimated humans. They had underestimated creativity, courage, and unity, and that mistake had cost them dearly. On every continent, humans celebrated quietly and loudly, in homes and streets, in towns and cities. They had faced impossible odds, and they had emerged victorious. They had defended their plakai, looked at the stars, won,